you all for being here today. It's great to see so many of your faces. Happy New Year. Right.
Hey, Julie, happy Friday. I am
Thank
on,
you.
officially backing you up, but I am in a location that I'm going to be off camera. So have at it and good meeting. Looking forward to it.
Thank you, Crystal. Thank you. For those of you that don't know, Crystal is one of our inaugural board members, and in so many ways, the wind beneath my wings, truly. More than I can even say, more than either of us will admit. So I know we still have some folks joining. Karima, thank you for getting the chat started. Love it, love it, love it. Well, listen, here's what we all know. January is kind of a tricky month, right? We all come back from the holidays. We're feeling like totally refreshed and optimistic, like this is the year. We're finally going to protect our energy and create better balance. And then guess what happens? Like almost immediately, work ramps back up and the inbox fills up, the meetings stack up, old habits creep in, and suddenly the B word, burnout, starts tapping us on the shoulder again. Even though we said we weren't going to do it again, turned over a new leaf, we maybe even made a New Year's resolution. But burnout ends up tapping us on the shoulder again, not because we're doing something wrong, but because we're leading ourselves the same way we always have. And that's really why today's conversation matters. We're joined by Sophia Mikelionis,
Good job.
and she's a leadership coach, a speaker, and a former finance executive who knows burnout, not just academically, but personally, by the way. Um, really happy to have you here today, Sophia. After building this really high performing career and hitting a break point herself, she discovered something counterintuitive. Burnout isn't solved by doing less or trying harder. It's solved by leading yourself differently. Through her signature work, The Liberated Leader, which, can I just pause? You had me at liberated. Sophia helps high achieving women reclaim their power through tiny, sustainable habits and small shifts in boundaries, energy, and self leadership that create real change without adding more to an already full plate. Her approach is, you guys, refreshingly real. No hustle culture, no perfectionism, just practical micro habits you can really apply immediately. So, in this session, Power Without Burnout, Sophia will challenge how we think about leadership, productivity, and success. And most importantly, give us tools to stay powerful, grounded, and effective without burning ourselves out. So, pause just for a minute, Sophia. I don't have my normal Zoom person here today to help me with things, so I'm going to go find you and highlight you. There you are. Fantastic. So everyone, please meet Sophia and welcome Sophia.
Hello, hello. Let's get everything started here. For years, I look great on paper. Promotion after promotion, like people, I was the person people came to. I was crushing it on paper. But privately, I was exhausted. I was always stressed. It's like busy was my love language. And because I'm a know-it-all, in fact, I saw the chat was popping. If you are a know-it-all too, please put a one in the chat because I know I can't be the only person who thinks they know it all. I decided that the problem, it wasn't me, it was them. So I got a new job, new company, fancy title, and guess what followed me? All my bad habits. I didn't realize it at the time, but one morning when I was getting dressed for work, I was covered in hives. I'm like, wait, was it a new body wash? Why am I itching? Did I call a doctor? Come on, for my know-it-alls, you know I didn't. I slathered calamine lotion all over my body and put on a dark cardigan and went to work because that's what I did best. I pushed through. I knew the job was a mistake on day 2, but I couldn't quit. I love what I do. I needed the paycheck, and quitting, it meant failure. So I had to figure it out. Uh, I kept pretending, going through the motions, holding it together on the outside, but unraveling on the inside. And maybe that's exactly why you're here. let's get into it, right? You are in the right place if you constantly say in the midst of your exhaustion, I'll take a break after this product launch, or right after Q1, I'll start looking after myself, and I set some goals. Are any of these on constant repeat in your head? Come on, let's add some ones. Okay, I see that. OMG, this is me. Okay. You say yes when your body is screaming, absolutely not. And let's be clear, you don't say yes because you want more on your plate. You say yes because you want to be seen as leadership material. You've actually started to believe that this type of stress is just a part of the deal. Your sleep is interrupted, your workouts are aspirational. You believe that like this tight chest, this mental fog, this is just what success is supposed to look like. So if any of that hit, you are not alone. This is the unspoken cost of overdoing it in high achieving spaces. And today, we're going to say it out loud so you can start leading at a pace that you can keep up with. And we're just getting started. But I have to ask something of you, right? I know you've attended a Zoom meeting before, but I need you to be honest with yourself because I'm going to talk about burnout in a way that maybe you haven't heard before, and maybe you haven't really experienced it yet. But I want you to take some notes so we can take action on it together because that's why we're here. This is a safe space to do that work. So don't just take mental notes. Write it down. Like get a pen, paper, write it down. Absorb the information and this is what I really need. I need you to decide what you will implement so this hour truly creates momentum for you. So a few tips, right, is before we dive in, just a few notes to help you make the most of this time. I need you to use the chat. This is a space to connect, not just consume. If you drop your thoughts, share your reactions, you don't know. Like there's so much power in realizing that you're not the only one feeling that way. And your comment, that heart emoji, that rocket ship emoji, if you can find one, that might be exactly what someone else needs to see to know that, hey, I need to pivot. Hey, I'm aware of this issue. Hey, I'm not alone. So close the tabs. Give yourself the mental space to fully receive what's here for you today. You're not just attending a session, you are investing in the version of you that leads with clarity and ease. So let's make it count, okay? Let's get started. Drop a 1 in the chat so I can get a little bit of water here. Here we go. So let me tell you why I'm so excited about this work. A few years ago, I was stuck in my own cycle of burnout. I was surviving my job, tolerating my family when I got home. I was completely checked out. I'd sit at family dinners, physically, mentally, physically, I was there, but mentally, my head was on that last email that I sent or the projects that I didn't complete. Happy hours with my girls, my friends, they felt like one more thing I had to do to show up for, instead of something that I actually enjoyed. I was running on empty. And I had nothing left for the people and the moments that actually mattered. And that's when I discovered something powerful, tiny, non-negotiable habits, small habits that felt so simple, they almost seemed too easy to work. But when I started adding them to my day, things tailored specifically to what my body and my mind were craving, everything shifted and it was liberating. Suddenly, I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was actually present at family meals. I was engaged during happy hours with my girls, not a fake laugh. Like I would have a full belly laugh, the kind that tears actually come out. I could leave work at work instead of carrying it at home in my body and my mind every single night. It was about these small strategic habits that help me find energy. And that's exactly what I want to help you with today. So I'm Sophia, and I know the calendar chaos. I know it all too well. You know what I'm talking about, where every minute is accounted for, but nothing feels like it's actually getting done. Overdoing it, where you're doing everyone else's job plus your own. Why? Let me tell you why. Because you know it's easier than delegating. And don't get me started on what happens Sunday night, right? That Sunday night dread. What do they call it? They call it the Sunday night scaries, right? Because nearing the edge of burnout with pride, I was treating it like it was a gold medal. But with what I learned through my experience as a liberated leader, I've coached high achieving women in tech, consulting, marketing, even a chef. And I see her on the call. Hello, hello. Um, Hitting goals, getting promoted, but looking for something else privately. Maybe you're exhausted. Maybe you're running on fumes, wondering if this is just what success costs. And here's what I've learned about breaking the burnout cycle, because it is a cycle. It truly is little patterns that we picked up along the way that just continue to repeat, rinse and repeat. It isn't about time management or productivity hacks or even more caffeine. It's deeper than that. You need to lead from a place that feels light, that feels doable, not just from adrenaline and sheer willpower, so you can show up powerfully at work and still have something left for yourself. So, okay, I want to ask you, use the chat here. What is the word that comes to mind when you hear this phrase, leadership at this level? Go ahead and pop it into the chat, because whew, for me, I see pressure. Or do you see power? When I hear this phrase, leadership at this level, I hear more hours. I hear me like clicking my laptop at the beach. Oh, opportunity. Okay. And that's the thing, like stress, all in. Yes, yes. What gets me about opportunity is sometimes it's like a double-edged sword, right? You want the opportunity, so you feel like you have to seize it. You have to do everything possible, right? To grasp hold of it, right? But most women in senior roles, they aren't leading from power. They're leading from pressure, exhaustion, and they're leading from pressure and exhaustion. So I want us to name it so we can change it. And my grandmother, she would say, let's call a spade a spade. So we need to make some shifts. Okay, so we've all been taught to power through, to push harder, to work later, smile through the stress. But what if the most powerful thing you could do today was pause? Because when you're rushing to the next meeting, solving the next fire, delivering at 150%, not 100%, you lose your ability to think clearly, to lead intentionally, to feel like yourself. Like powerful leadership, it doesn't come from constant motion. It comes from knowing when to stop and when to listen to yourself. I want you to think about this. Where in your life are you pushing through when a pause would actually move you forward? And I know that sounds counterintuitive, but for myself, like I would stay up late. I'm a night owl, so I get like a burst of energy at like 9 p.m. So I would stay up late. I would push off work. I would push off all of my work until the end of the evening, stay up late to finish a deck. So if I'm not starting until 9, I don't finish until 2 a.m. And I feel good about myself. I got those slides done, but then the next morning I have to over caffeinate to make up for being grumpy. That's not that's not the best path for me to show up as my best self. Pausing to get some sleep so that way I could have fresh eyes tomorrow. Maybe it's 7 p.m. and I put my laptop away and do what I want for the evening. Read a book, maybe check in with a friend on the phone, right? And still stay up as late as I want, but not investing so much in work. Maybe I could email my manager and say, hey, this is where we are. We can circle back later. It's those type of shifts. Now, I want us to get real for a second. Does anyone have a mirror? We're all women. Maybe you have one in your work bag, but I know we all have this thing, right? Go ahead, pull up the camera on your phone. I have an iPhone. I'm going to press that camera button. I'm going to hold it up so I could see myself, turn it on selfie mode. And this is your mirror, and I want you to look at that woman. Look at that woman there, right? Can the version of you that wants peace, space, and presence actually find you today? Because she's looking. That person's looking, but can they find you? Because they keep bumping into a schedule that she didn't design, a to-do list with everyone else's priorities listed first, and a body that whispers, I can't keep doing this. We can't keep doing this. What does your calendar say about you? What does it say about your values? Does it reflect leadership or your people pleasing? And I'll be the first one to tell you, I didn't even realize I was a people pleaser. I just wanted to make sure that everyone was on board before we move forward. um, uh, People pleasing for you may be, I have this meeting for Bill, I have this meeting for Caitlin, I have all these individual one-on-ones for my direct reports. Every yes you give is a vote for the life that you're building. So the question is, what is your calendar voting for? I want to share just a quick check-in. It could take between 5 to 10 minutes, but it's just a quick check-in, because burnout is when your energy, your values, and your efforts are misaligned for an extended period of time. You're so stressed for so long that you're just done. Your mind, your body, your emotions, they all give up. So here's my go-to method to switch from reaction mode to real power fast. Mind, what am I telling myself today? Am I saying, oh, here it's Monday again. Oh, I got all these emails that I have to get through. I'm going to do the best I can. Or am I saying, wow, this calendar is action packed. There are 3 things I'm going to focus on, and the rest I'm going to delegate to tomorrow. The rest, it's going to have to be delayed because I know that I can show up as my best self if I focus here, right? Or paying attention to your body. Do a body scan, right? Before you jump into that next deliverable, do a body scan. Are your shoulders tight? What is that telling you? Does it tell you that, man, you're using a lot of energy right now with your shoulders clenched, your jaw clenched as you put together that report for William? Like perhaps you should delegate something to tomorrow, delegate something to your team. You could delay it. These are things that checking in with your body will give you a scope or a look into what your body needs right now. Now, we've been conditioned to power through, but what happens when we rest through? Right? I know it sounds crazy, but resting through the deadlines, resting through the 10-hour days, resting through stress, push harder, show up stronger, don't let them see you slow down. If your go-to move is pushing through, you are reinforcing the exact system that's burning you out. So what if a 10-minute pause would give you more power than 10 hours of pushing through, right? That example I gave about all-nighters, like that's powerful. One of my favorite books, Gentle by Courtney Carver, she talks about starting your day with rest in mind. Forget the to-do list. As I walk into the office, what are my rest breaks today? And am I truly blocking off time for my lunch? Do I plan to leave my desk for lunch so my eyes can rest from the screen? What does that look like? Like, does that mean I need to end my 11:30 sooner? Does that mean I need an agenda for the 11:30 meeting? Does that mean that 11:30 meeting should be canceled? Because if I'm going to rest through, that means maybe I need to log off by 5 o'clock so I can walk the dog. Like leading with rest doesn't mean giving up. It just means showing up with clarity. It means protecting your energy because that woman who we saw in the mirror, like she leads differently. She's not proving, she's choosing, like strategically. The biggest mistake that successful women make is they fail to audit and protect. Look at your to-do list for the week or just your past week. What is draining you and what is giving you energy? Like honestly, like go through it and either color code it for my type A color coders or just make a note of it. What can you delegate? What can you dive into? What can you delete? Like look for that within your week. And then I want you to protect your time. Use your best energy for those things that you're really excited about. Like maybe that report for Bill is draining. So before you do the report for Bill, you actually have a lunch. You leave your desk. You get in some movement, right? You do have a lunch, right? Not that granola bar that's at the bottom of your work bag. If you enjoy your 10:30 with Lauren, now your energy is at a high after that 10:30. It multiplies when you stack something that you enjoy on top of it. So let's get excited about lunch right after or a 15-minute break right after because stacking that energy is a way that you can prepare for some of those tasks that are draining you. Man, are you guys picking up what I'm putting down here? Ooh, drop a 2 in the chat because I'm going to go to the second shift. Okay, here we go. Here's some 2s. Oh, someone put a 10. I love you guys. This is so awesome. Oh man. Number 2, for many of us, success has always been tied to proving, to working harder, to saying yes more. Oh wait, but then you have to say less, right? And then you have to stay later. Keep keep earning your worth like it's always one step away. But here's the shift. You've already earned your seat because you're qualified. You don't have to hustle for validation when your value, it's not up for debate. You already have the title. The title is like it's in your email signature. It's already in the Outlook card. Leadership isn't about being the most available person or the most agreeable person in the room. It's about owning your presence and your power without apology. And for me, sometimes I would look at my resume, I would save my resume on my desktop or my mid-year review as a Word document and read through it on my low days or when imposter syndrome comes knocking, because I need to remind myself that, hey, wait, I'm a director. Wait, I have accomplished a lot. Yes, today may be a low, but I there's some power in here because often we forget. And let me tell you why this matters. Like most women don't leave their roles because they're not capable. Let me tell you, they leave their roles because they have reached the breaking point. Like we're doing it the way they've done it, the way they've always done it. It no longer feels realistic. The pressure, the pace, the proving, it catches up with you physically. And I know you know what I'm talking about. It may not be hives for you, but maybe it's that eye twitch that randomly comes up. You're like, wow, why is my eye twitching? Or the dry eyes, or emotionally being irritable AF, pardon my French, or rereading that email 4 times. And the scariest part is we don't want to walk away, but we also know that we can't keep living like this. And this is why this conversation matters, because we need to lead from a different mindset. I'll skip the stats because I could give you more productivity hacks, but you've already tried them all, right? Working through lunch to catch up, staying late to get ahead, spending Sunday night just prepping for the week. But if you're exhausted, still stretched thin, waking up already behind, that's not a time issue, it's a system issue. So, burnout doesn't always begin in your calendar, it begins in your conditioning, right? Think about athletes, like how they train. And if we want to lead differently with power, not pressure, we have to stop managing the symptoms and start leading from the root. We have to liberate ourselves from the pattern that got us here. And that's what this conversation is about. So let me say this clearly. You don't need a crisis to make a change. You don't need your manager's permission or your team's approval or even like a rock bottom moment to say, like, you know what, this isn't working for me. You're allowed to pivot because you've outgrown the old strategy and ready to lead differently on your terms. Clarity is reason enough. No more waiting. You don't need a permission slip. You just need to trust the shift. So, secrets, I got 3 of them. Let's talk about something I see all the time in high achieving women. I know you're taking notes, so pay attention here because this is where the shift happens, right? You've got the ambition, you've got the plan, and you've already got a seat at the table. But no matter how strategic you are, you're still exhausted. Let me tell you why. Until you rebuild your internal bandwidth or your internal cup, every new solution, it feels like another stressor. You implement a new system, great. But now you have 15 tabs open, back-to-back meetings, it's 10 a.m. and you're over it. Your brain is fried. This is what no one tells you. Strategy requires clarity. Clarity requires capacity or space to think. And when your energy is maxed out, even your best ideas, they can't take root. So that energy audit that I shared, that quick check-in, it's a part of my Liberated Leader framework. And that audit, it helps you recharge, it helps you cut the noise, it helps you identify what actually moves you forward, not what keeps you busy, not what earns you praise, but what aligns with the outcomes that matter. Space isn't a reward, it's a leadership tool. And your team, if you lead a team, they're watching. When you lead from depletion, you teach them the same thing. But when you prioritize space or healthy bandwidth, you model what success actually looks like and it feels good. Right? So I just want to ask, like what would change if your energy got protected as fiercely as your deadlines? Because if you're like me, we don't miss a deadline. Oh man, let me tell you, one of the biggest mistakes I see high achieving women make when it comes to leadership is they treat boundaries like a last minute defense mechanism. I've had it. I'm not working weekends anymore. I'm not working past 5. Like they throw them up when they're exhausted or only when they feel like they're allowed to. But most women I work with, they aren't overcommitted because they're bad at saying no. They're overcommitted because their yeses aren't anchored in a clear vision. They're saying yes to prove they're committed. They're saying yes to avoid disappointing someone. They're saying yes so no one questions their value, what they bring to the team. And when your yes is fear-based, you create a career built on other people's urgency, not your own alignment. What if instead of boundaries being a wall, they were treated like a filter? Think about it, like a strategic filter that protects what matters most. Is that time with your friends and your family? Is that time to walk your dog? Is that, the time when, you and your husband go sit on a boat? Your energy, your focus, your thinking space, your life, that shift from fear-based yeses to anchored decisions is one of the most powerful transformations I've seen women make. And it doesn't require a complete overhaul. It starts with naming the belief that is driving the yeses. First, you need to identify the pattern, then name the belief, and then practice one small shift at a time. We're going to come back to this because learning to filter strategically, it changes everything. When my client Dia, she came to me, man, she was in the middle of a separation. She took a mini challenge that I gave her, and during a separation, it was like one of the hardest times in her life. She was drowning, she was isolated, and she felt stuck in a cycle of reactivity and people pleasing, and that was draining every ounce of her energy. But she didn't know where to start. She didn't realize she was a people pleaser until day 1 of the challenge. And that awareness alone was massive. By day 4, she set her first real boundary. I'm going to set a 3-day buffer between responding to difficult messages. 3 days seemed like a lot, but that's what she needed. So that way she wasn't giving unfiltered reactive communication. Man, she wasn't giving away pieces of herself anymore in the moment just to keep the peace. And something shifted. She started creating what we call Dia 2.0. Or remember that woman we saw in the mirror here? That was her vision for who she's becoming. And most importantly, she stopped dwelling on the past. She stopped dwelling on the things she couldn't control, and she started taking small, consistent steps in her own growth. Now, look, she didn't fix everything. She didn't solve all her problems, but she gave herself permission to start, and that changed everything. So I got to jump to secret number 3 here. What else do I see? I see so many high I'll let you know, Melissa. What else I see? I see a lot of high achieving women constantly trying to prove their value, over delivering, staying late, being somewhere, doing everything. But the truth is, burnout doesn't come from being incapable. It comes from trying to earn your worth in a system that doesn't even know how to measure it. That hit, right? Like that definition of success that we're all striving for, is that truly your definition of success? You've been performing leadership, but real leadership is not about performance. It's about presence. And presence only comes when you stop doing things out of fear and start doing them from power. Man, that shift from survival to strategy, from proving the present, it doesn't happen overnight. It happens through practice, through small intentional practices that rewire how you lead, the kind we started exploring with that 10-minute energy audit. Micro recoveries like recentering your nervous system, because it's on alert all the time when you're always answering questions for your team or answering Slacks. Like, you don't need a complete overhaul, just consistent practice. I know I said there were 3 secrets, but one more. Come on, I'm a giver, so why not? Um, Tell me if this sounds familiar. um, you finally get that dream vacation, your dream spot. You should be relaxing. For me, that place was Paris. But when I got there, I couldn't relax. I was wondering if George had sent that report, if I was the person that said, let me just check my teams really quick. You're physically there, but mentally, you're in the office. That's not rest, and that's residue. And let me tell you why. Your body, it has accepted that survival is your default mode. That's what it is. And now, even when you think you can step away, you don't know how to. Your body doesn't even feel safe doing it. Why? Why is that? Because women like us, me included, we were never taught to recover on purpose. We only rest after the crash, after the promotion, after the breakdown, but you can't lead well on borrowed energy and waterproof mascara. Come on, you know what I'm talking about, waterproof mascara. And here's the reframe. Recovery isn't indulgent, it's infrastructure. It's the foundation of every lasting leadership system. So I talked about micro recoveries, just tiny, tiny intentional moments that restore your capacity. Like what, you may ask? Like a real break, not just switching tabs, right? Or adding movement to your day or adventure to your day to break the routine. Food, eating an actual meal, not surviving on your secret stash of granola bars or chocolate, when you just need a boost. So that way you don't have to get up. No, get up. Stillness, you may need stillness, having quiet screen time or screen-free lunch. Like, these small shifts, like, they really interrupt the burnout pattern and remind us you're allowed to shift. Now, I need to tell you why this is important. So focus right here, right here. If nothing changes, if you don't shift the way you're leading, what happens 6 months from now? What happens in your new job? You'll still be exhausted. You'll still be overgiving. You'll still be resentful, still looking for something you can't quite name. Your 5 p.m. log off? Yeah, that's a fantasy. Your body is still whispering, we can't keep doing this. Your nieces, your friends, your cousins, they're all still getting leftovers. So if you could take one thing away from our time today, it would be this. Like, you don't need more discipline. You don't need to hustle harder. You don't need to be tough enough. But what you do need to do is start working with your body, your energy, your actual life, not the 22-year-old version of yourself. If nothing changes, nothing changes. Oh, I love that. So here's what we covered. I helped you identify, what is actually draining you and what you think should be and what is energizing you, right? We talked about that. You've learned how to match small habits with your specific energy cravings, whether it's movement, adventure, or connection. And you've discovered a path out of burnout. It's just making strategic, doable shifts. And it comes from small, consistent practice. Now, here's the question. What happens when you actually practice this? So here we are. This is where you are right now. You are here, at the mall, that little kiosk. You are right here. You've got 2 decisions in front of you. Option 1, you keep going where you have been, right? Operating in survival mode, trying to figure it out alone, hoping the next quarter, the next boss, the next vacation will give you a break, waiting for the right time, surviving on fumes. Or you can follow a roadmap, one that actually helps you lead with clarity and authority instead of running yourself into the ground. Liberated leader energy. So you understand everything I've shared today intellectually. I know you're smart, but the gap no one talks about is knowing how to do it and actually doing it, right? And when Monday hits, you're back with the real pressure. So, and then implementation, it feels impossible. And that's where the 7-day Liberated Leader mini challenge comes in. It's a 7-day low stake chance to practice in real time with support and proof. And let me tell you what the challenge isn't. Look, I can't fix your demanding job. I can't help you change your company culture. But what I can do is send you an email, a gentle nudge, in a supportive way to help you practice what we talked about for a week. Just daily guidance that meets you where you are, simple experiments, real scripts, reflection prompts. So, what happens when you say yes to the mini challenge? You get an accountability buddy in your inbox. Just one email sent daily with a prompt for you to consider. I could tell you a little bit about Andrea, but I want to save time for questions if you have them. And I want you to think about this as we wrap. Today you've learned the framework, but how will you practice it? And that's what this mini challenge is about. It's designed to give you practice in real time. So if you're curious, scan the QR code and let me see, maybe I could pop it in the chat for those of you who just love to click on something. See if I could pop that in. I think I can. There we go. It's for 7 days. You get some guidance, and maybe that might be the thing that breaks the cycle that you've been in. So I wanted to open it up for Q&A. Julie, do we have anything? Because if not, there's some questions that I typically get asked, and I can go through those.
Oh my goodness. How fantastic is this? I would love to open it up to Q&A. I think folks have been just popping things in here, not necessarily questions. I think you were probably answering people's questions before they asked their questions.
Yeah,
So
okay, good.
yeah, so
Okay.
that's really fantastic. I out of everything you said today, there were some things that really stood out to me. And part of that was this idea of micro recovery. It was just so powerful to know that you have control over that as soon as you decide you're going to take control over that. I love that. Leading with rest, which almost sounds like an opposite thing, doesn't it? Until you explained very, very well how you do that, but more importantly, why you do it. So I think that was really powerful too. Also, the idea that you don't need permission to pivot. And by the way, ladies, if you do need permission, I'm giving it to you right now. Okay, so we're going to bring Jen Henriksen on now. Thank you so much, Sophia, for being here. We're going to bring Jen on. Jen, I am going to spotlight you. I think I am. Real quick.
Hello, ladies.
There you are. Thanks so much for being here, everyone.
How is everybody? I just have a really quick announcement, if I can get back to you now, about the FWA Mentor Program that we just wrapped at the end of December. We are about to set out a survey to get your feedback on how the 2025 program went. I'm working with Phaedra and Jen, and we have a couple new volunteers for the committee, which is great. By the way, if anybody else wants to volunteer, please do reach out to me also. You can reach me through Julie. So we wrapped it December 31st. Some are continuing. I'm continuing with my relationships. We will get an email out. I'm targeting Monday, February 9th. So working on that now. There will be 2 ways to give feedback. You can participate one way or both. One will be an online survey, which you can take anonymously if you prefer, or you can submit your information. And then looking at Friday, February 20th, we will host Zoom sessions, separate sessions for mentors and a session for mentees. We'll do them both on the same day, just so that people can do Q&A and talk freely and, safe space to just explore other things. As part of the survey and part of the Zoom, we're also looking at some maybe quarterly meetings next year or like this year, or adding sessions, group sessions, and just really want to get your thoughts on that as well, who's open to it and who's interested. And that's it. That is the only announcement I have, and that's why Julie was passing to me. So I think we're wrapping.
Okay. Yeah, typically there's some questions I get. Do you mind if I just run through those? Because
that would be amazing.
Yeah, so sometimes people ask me, Sophia, what books do I recommend? I would recommend The Essentialist by Greg McGowan. Let me actually put up my, if you want to find me, my socials. The Essentialist by Greg McGowan, because he talks about doing less. He talks about being stressed in his role and finding Just so much power in doing less. I talked about Gentle by Courtney Carver. That's one of my favorite go-tos. And Unbothered. It's actually a workbook by Case Kinney. Some people actually like to have prompts and to think through things and do like a lot of long thought exercises. So I would recommend that. And then the other question I always get is, Sophia, tell us more about these bad habits that you had. So here we go, safe space, right? Um, I would have a drawer of granola bars at my desk, so that way I would just chomp away and just keep moving. So don't do that. But also when I would go on vacation, I would have that bottom, that signature line. Hey, I'm leaving from Monday to Friday. I will be periodically checking my emails. I would recommend stop doing that. Don't do that. Take that off, because you're signaling to people that you don't know how to rest. And I want you to ping me. Even if you don't like your family or whoever you're on vacation with, go get a book. Do not prompt or check or tell people that you're, going to do that. And the last bad habit I had was I wanted to help out so many people in my team because I knew if they were successful, I would be successful. So I would spend all my day in back-to-back meetings, and the only time I could do something for myself was at the end of the day. So that always put me behind the eight ball. Like, I'm not starting my day until 5 p.m. because I spent from 8 a.m., to 5 p.m. helping everyone else. So those are some small shifts that have been extremely helpful for me, that I just wanted to share. So maybe if that's you, if you felt a little ouch, you too will stop doing those things. All right, Jen, that's all I got.
Amazing. Thank you. I never put on out of office. Oh my, Harima. I hear that
Oh, this hits home for you. Awesome.
all the time. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else want to pitch in? Any other questions? Are we anything else to cover? Julie kicked it over to me for this, and I'm not used to leading this group at all.
Hey, Jen, it's Crystal. I'm just going to say, and I'm a quote from one of my favorite movies from the 80s, Sophia, Sophia, Sophia. I mean, this was just a very powerful session, and we thank you so much because it speaks to your name, which your name means fierce and strong will, and you just brought all of that in the bag chip. So thank you. I enjoyed it, and I made lots of copious notes. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, ladies. Thanks everyone for the call and just for the space. And I implore everyone, please use the time, use what you learn to take action. Because if you don't change, if nothing changes, nothing changes. Should we close, Jen?
We can close. That was amazing. Thank you, Sophia. Good to see you all, ladies. Everybody have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you all soon. There they go. Everybody's bouncing. Good to meet you, Sophia. Thank you so much for the incredible content.
This was awesome. Man, I'm pumped up because I just feel like the more we can talk about it, the more that people build an awareness, right? Because we've all been taught just keep hustling harder, Plus, I feel like as a woman, sometimes, we've been taught it's a man's world, so you got to prove yourself. But
They
unless
don't
you
prove
give
themselves.
Yeah, I know. Don't even get me started.
It's one of my goals for 2026 is to and I went to a meditation session last night with a group of girlfriends and like a sound bath, and we had this very conversation. Like last year was full of obligation and family and all this stuff that had to be sprinkled in with the work stuff and leading everything. And it's just this year making time, even if it's once a month, to carve out time, unplug, self-care,
Yeah.
connect with others. Yeah.
But how do you do that? How do you protect that time? Do you block off your
I
calendar?
calendar it. Yeah, I'm doing
Okay.
something like that. I will
Yeah.
take if it's on a weekend, even whatever, and just take the whole 4 hours or whatever I need. Yeah, so we'll do that
Yeah.
regularly.
Yeah, I like that. Is it reoccurring on your calendar, or is it something you have to manually do every time?
Planning around schedules each week. But the big thing last year was I noticed I didn't have downtime with the people that matter most to me outside of my obligations. And
Yeah.
it was kind of like the year was all about others.
Yeah,
And
no, you could say it. I mean, I'm not the other.
and then, yeah, and then also it's just been kind of like heavy as well. And I think too, as the country's going through whatever this is, I was about to drop an F-bomb, is like the worst thing I think we can do is isolate.
You're absolutely right, right? Because that's what happens. It's so fear-based. You can't control anything. So you're just like, I'm just going to control what I can, and that's me in this space.
Yeah.
We have to get out. We have to talk to more people. We have to
Yeah.
build community. Yeah, because otherwise we drown. Because that's the thing. Like if you think about like where we live now versus where we used to live. We used to live near our aunts, our uncles, our cousins.
Yeah.
They can give you a hug when you need it. Your aunt could make you like a good hearty meal. Your best friends from college lived right down the street, right? Or from high school. And they would give you the laugh that you needed. And now we just have to be intentional. Those things are still needed, but we have to build it. So, man, this was awesome. All right, Jen.
Thank you so much. Lovely to meet you.
Likewise, I'll connect with you on LinkedIn.
Connect with you too. Yes, that sounds great. Awesome.
See you, everyone.
All right. Bye, everybody.